Secularism in India. This is chapter 2 of civics. In the earlier chapter, students, you have studied that secularism is one of the features of Indian constitution. So what secularism is? This we are going to study in this chapter. This chapter is divided into 4 parts. Part 1 is secularism. Part 2, separating religion from state. Part 3, secularism in India. And part 4 would be Indian secularism and other democratic countries. What we are going to study in these parts? In part 1, that is secularism, we are going to see what is the main idea of secularism, what was done to people because of their creed, what is religious bigotry, when can religious bigotry happen. So through these questions we are going to find out what is secularism. We are also going to do a case study about a student named Sarika Watkins Singh. In part 2 we are going to see the separation between religion and state. We are going to see the reasons why should religion be separated from state. So these 2 topics we are going to cover in this session. So let's start with the chapter secularism in India. The first part, students, is secularism. So here we will start with the question, what is the main idea of secularism? If I ask you a question that how would you feel when your friends refuse to play with you? The reason you come to know is that the parents have told them not to play with you because you belong to a particular religion. How would you feel? Would you not feel that this kind of discrimination on the basis of religion is improper? So that is the theme of our main idea of secularism. What should be done, what can be done when there is discrimination on the grounds of religion? Discrimination on the grounds of religion happens. Along with it, there can be ill treatment, torture, and at times people can also be killed because of their creed, because of their religion. Religious intolerance. Example of religious intolerance is the annihilation of Jews. The Jewish people in Germany, they were annihilated, they were brutally killed, they were tortured, and people were tortured, killed just on the basis of religion. Similarly, there is another incident called Christian Crusades. Crusades were the religious wars. In the 11th century in Europe, many Christians, they traveled to Palestine, to Jerusalem. Why? Because they wanted to fight against those who had taken control of Jerusalem. Do you know Jerusalem? It is the place where Jesus Christ was born. So the Christians in Europe, they wanted their control. It happened in the 11th century. Were they having control over Jerusalem earlier? No. But the rulers in Jerusalem, did not persecute, did not trouble them. But in the 11th century, what happened? The Seljuk Turks, they took control of Jerusalem. They persecuted the Christians. And therefore, to set it free, the Christians, they traveled to Jerusalem. And these journeys and the fight against the Turks is called as crusade. These were the Christian crusades. So, religious bigotry, we have seen discrimination, we have seen torture, we have seen even people killed on the grounds of religion. So, when can this happen? When can religious intolerance happen? This can happen when a particular faith gets official recognition at the cost of other religions. At the cost of means at the expense of the people of other religion, they are hurt. When a particular faith, when a particular religion gets official recognition. So what is secularism? Secularism, it refers to the separation of religion from the state. Are you understanding? In the earlier statement, I told you that when a particular faith gets official recognition. So, to avoid the discrimination on the grounds of religion, what can be done is that the two can be separated. Which two? Religion and state. Do you know what is the meaning of state here? State means the government. So the religion and government, they can be separated to avoid religious bigotry. And it essentially means what? That the religion, it will not intervene in matters of politics. When the two are separated, when government is separate, so religion will not intervene in matters of government, in matters of politics, society, education. So government, it adopts an unbiased approach towards all religions. Government does not recognize any religion as a state religion. Government does not support any one particular religion. Rather, government has an unbiased, no bias, no partiality with any of the religion. Is unbiased approach towards all religion. It is not bent towards partiality. I want to say that it is not bent toward one particular religion at the cost of other religions. Are you understanding? This is the concept of secularism. So you should understand that secularism is separation of religion from politics. It is separation of religion from government. Politics means the government. Separation of religion from the government. Government means the state. Do you understand? Okay. So we take up the first topic, the second topic here, that why there should be separation of religion from the state. What are the reasons that why religion should be separated from state? So the first reason is for the smooth functioning of democracy. How is separation of the two related with the smooth functioning of democracy? It can happen that a dominant religious group in a country, see nowadays if we see in many countries, there are people belonging to different religions who live in a country, and it happens that people of a particular religious group, they are in majority and the others, they are in minority. Now if these people who are in a majority, religious majority, if they have control on power. If they are able to win the elections and they have the power in their hand, then that dominant religious group, what it can do, it might use authority, that is the political power. It might use the political authority to harass minority. It will use the power to political power and resources for their own interest, for their own advantage, and they will harass the minority. They can harass the minority and prevent them from practicing their religion. And this is against the right to freedom of religion. This is something against the principle of democracy. Are you understanding? So, for the proper functioning of democracy, religion and state should be separated. The second reason, students, is to protect our fundamental rights, to defend the liberty of all students, all citizens. Everyone should be free to live or embrace any religion. Don't you think? Whatever religion you like, whatever religion I like, should we not be free to accept the religion which we like? Shouldn't we be free to accept the religion which we like? Similarly, shouldn't we be free to leave the religion which we don't like? Similarly, shouldn't people have the right to interpret the religious teachings? Or should they be forced to accept the teachings, religious teachings? So, to protect these rights, that is the fundamental rights, that everyone should be free to live or embrace any religion, to interpret the spiritual teachings, as well as voice his views against teachings and observances of a religion. This can happen if the two are separated, if the religion and state, they are separated. So this is the second reason, that is to protect the fundamental rights, the two should be separated. And the third reason is to preserve India's unity. By giving equal importance to all religions, our constitution promotes harmony between the different religious groups. So, students, we have seen two things here, that what is secularism, and there we have seen that secularism is the separation of the religion from state, and then we have seen the reasons why religion should be separated from state. One case study I was telling you about, I told you about a case study about Sarika Watkins Singh. So what we are going to see in this case study, there was a student named Sarika Watkins Singh. She was studying. She was a half Welsh and half Sikh teenager, and she won the right to wear a kada. A kada is a symbol of the Sikh, is a symbol of her Sikh father, to school in the British High Court. What happened with her earlier was that her school expelled her, because her school had a rule that they should not wear jewelry. There was a rule, but the girl wore a kada, and then the school expelled her. So she went to court, and the court gave a verdict in her favor. The court ruled that the school had violated her freedom of religious expression. So this ruling, verdict, it comes in 4 years after France prohibited flaunting of religious symbols. So earlier France, it had prohibited that you cannot flaunt religious symbols, but here in this case in England, the girl was allowed to wear the kada, because it was seen as a part of her religious expression, as a way of her religious expression. We are going to study this about how a constitution of how a secular government, how in different ways it tries to promote the idea of secularism. Now students, earlier when we have finished chapter number 1, you have written the question answers, and there we have not taken question number 3 and 4, as I have told you that you are going to get it in form of notes, but the multiple choice questions are left there. So now I would ask you that you take out the respective pages and see the answers. Tally the answers first. You also see what is the answer and then tally your answer with my answer. So first take out page number 220. There at the top on left hand side you will see this question: how many members formed the drafting committee? So the answer to that question is option C, that is 300. The second question is: the constitution was approved in. There you have to write the year and the month. So the option first is correct there, November 1949. Now come to page 221. There on page 221, first multiple choice questions: which of the following is true about the country of Nepal? The answer is C, that is both A and B. Option C you have to tick. Second question is: who is the father of the Indian Constitution? There you have to tick option B, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Then fill in the blanks. First, the dash is frequently referred to as the soul of democracy. What will you write there? The Constitution. Right there, Constitution. Constitution, Constitution. Second one, the Indian Constitution guarantees right to vote to all citizens of 18 years of age or above. Right to vote is the answer. Right to vote. Third, giving regard and preserving our natural and cultural heritage is the fundamental duty of every citizen. Answer is fundamental duty. And the answer of the last question, dash were included in the Indian Constitution 1976. Fundamental duties were included in the Indian Constitution. Fundamental duties. Next page, page 222. Which of the following is not a salient feature of our Constitution? Answer is option C, monarchy as head of the state. Second, what are the guidelines that help the government in transforming the ideals enshrined in the Constitution into laws that promote socio-economic justice? Here is answer is option 2A. Beg your pardon. Answer is 2B, directive principles of state policy. These are the guidelines that help the government in transforming the ideals enshrined in the Constitution into laws. Directive principles of state policy. So with this we have finished the chapter. First chapter I am telling you. Now the remaining question answers. Yes, but not all students have submitted their answers. So what is the reason why you have not completed the answers yet and not submitted? So now when we are starting the second lesson, first finish your question answer of the first lesson and do start the questions of second lesson also. Tomorrow we will see the remaining part of the lesson. Till then, goodbye.